Welcome back to High School Backups Podcast. You're here with me, Jake, Kyle, and Steven. Another offset episode where we're not doing this live, just a pre-recorded episode for us to get some more videos up there for you guys. Today we're going to be talking about which NFL teams are just a piece or two away from being actual contenders. Maybe not Super Bowl contenders, but, conference championship contenders and maybe Super Bowl contenders. We've got 9 teams that we think are probably a piece or two away, either because their coaching is really good and they can overcome some of those mistakes that players make even if they're not as talented, and or teams that are a piece or two away, including their coaches not being really all that good, but the talent on the team being great. Patriots. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to that. So we've got 9 teams. We've got the Titans, the Giants, the Jets, the Patriots, the Bucks, the Commanders, the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Colts.
Are the Chargers on that list?
No, because honestly, they're only one piece away, and it's getting rid of their head coach and replacing him with Sean Payton, and I think we all know that. I don't think we need to do the Chargers. They're contenders even with Staley as a head coach, and that's saying something because he's fucking atrocious.
Yes, that's pretty terrible.
We're going to go right down the list. I think we're going to start with the Titans. This is a team that has a coach, I think, that can overcome some player deficiencies. Mike Vrabel is probably a top 10 coach in the NFL, maybe arguably top 5 with what he's been able to do with the Titans over the last couple of years with less than elite talent. Let's say it that way. Besides Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and you have somebody that, when you look at preparation for a game as well, you have to look back at he was able to take his roster with Malik Willis and
Malik.
And have it be within a single score against the Chiefs. Like, this really was, if they had just anybody else at quarterback, they could march down the field. So I
don't think they need quarterback either. I'm still high on Malik Willis. I think his trajectory is going to look a lot like Michael Vick's when Michael Vick came out. Nobody remembers that Michael Vick's first 2 years in the leagues were fucking atrocious, but he played for the Falcons, so nobody really cared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the Titans are regretting losing someone like AJ Brown, losing a number 1 wide receiver.
I want to be in that room on draft day when Mike Vrabel stormed out after they traded AJ Brown. What was they thinking? Like, I want to know what the thought process was. It because
honestly, I think they
did not want to pay him.
I don't think they wanted to pay a wide receiver $20 million. I don't think they wanted to be at the front of that trend that we're seeing. Look at the teams that paid receivers $20 million this year, right? Devontae Adams missed the playoffs. Christian Kirk, Trevor Lawrence kind of overcame that. Christian Kirk did have a good year, but I don't think he earned $20 million.
Nope.
And the Dolphins, who barely made the playoffs, but it wasn't Tyreek Hill's fault. He was actually worth every single cent of that $20 million. So, yeah. I just don't think the Titans wanted to be on the front end of that. But one of the pieces that they are missing is a true dominant number 1 receiver. And I think they may get a little bit aggressive in the draft. They pick at 12. They may try to move up to try to take one of the top 2 receivers. From what I'm hearing about this year's draft class is a lot of people think none of those receivers are going to go into the mid-20s. Where I've had in the mocks, we've had receivers flying off the board, the teams that are really receiver needy. So that's really interesting to me that people don't think, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnson, and who's the other one? Oh, Kayshon Boutte are going to be at the top of that board. So it's really interesting to see that. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah's most recent mock draft, and Daniel Jeremiah does a really good job that didn't have a receiver going real early. I think the Titans are one of those teams that are going to be jumping on those receivers, especially if a guy like Quentin Johnson falls to them at 12. But I know you guys agree with me on that. I'm not sure. Go ahead, Steve.
Honestly, because they have somebody like Malik Willis who's very young, I think either there are 2 things they can do, because if they don't want to spend money, a rookie receiver is really good because you can develop them alongside Malik Willis. That's usually a really good thing if you have a quarterback receiver being able to practice and develop a relationship together very early on, which is really, really good for in the long run. But, going for a veteran receiver, I feel like there isn't a lot available that you don't want to break the bank for. You look at, like, Hopkins, who is, a $20 million cap hit, or even like T. Higgins, if the Bengals try to go off of him, that's a lot of money.
If I'm the Titans, again, it depends on what the mindset of the Titans is right now, right? Like, do they really think D-Hop is going to bring them over the top, or do they want to develop? And I think a guy like Quentin Johnston really gives Malik Willis, it fits the skill set where Johnston is 6'4" and probably is going to run a sub 4.40. And Malik Willis has a cannon. If there's anything we know about Malik Willis, it's that he can run and he's got a cannon. So that's probably one of the receivers that I'd be eyeing if I'm the Titans. D-Hop makes a lot of sense there too. I mean, you'd have to trade 12 to get him. So it depends on whether you want to move off that first round pick for D-Hop, get him to the Titans so you can have your bona fide number one receiver again, which I think would make a big difference in a lot of the games they played this year. Plus, Treylon Burks is developing. You have a playmaker underneath, so why not go get a guy like Quentin Johnston or D-Hop who can go catch 50-50 balls? But it... Go ahead, Steve. I'm not...
Oh, but it does make a lot of sense to give your players time to develop. I mean, because realistically, it's a good idea to look towards improving but developing for next year, because in the AFC especially, going in all swinging on putting all your money in one team clearly doesn't work out because of how the powerhouse that are a lot of the top teams in the AFC. So definitely a rookie receiver. You can keep them cheap, sign them to a long-term deal, develop them for about a year or two, and then really get a lot of production out of them. So I kind of like the Titans maybe trying to get some younger players, because you have an aging Derrick Henry as well. So maybe try to get some younger talent so that you're not constantly shuffling out expensive veterans, which a lot of teams may try to do, like with the Rams, trying to pick up older, aging players for expensive amount of money. That's not going to work out for them.
I think that works for the Rams solely because the competition in the NFC isn't necessarily as all there. I mean, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles took a big step up this year, but last year they weren't like a threat. And I mean,
they were 2-7 at one point too last year, or 2-6.
They were not good last year. But like the competition in the NFC isn't as good as it is in the AFC. I mean, you're looking at the Bengals-Bills game just finished up. You're gonna have the Bengals and Chiefs back for the second year in a row at Arrowhead. And on the other side, I mean, the 49ers are really good. The Eagles have proved themselves to be really good. The Cowboys have been really good this year. But when it comes to actually just going out and paying for a Super Bowl, that strategy normally doesn't work. It worked for the Rams, but it normally doesn't work.
They got a ring, so I don't really think ownership is complaining.
Nobody's complaining. Nobody's complaining.
They got a ring, right?
No, exactly. Like, again, everything timing-wise worked out, and they paid for it. Like, they got it. And now they're going to be in probably shit limbo for about a decade, but that's okay.
Yep.
With the
Bottom
Titans,
of the NFC West.
With the Titans, I think they also need some pieces on defense, at least one. I think with Harold Landry coming back, their pass rush is going to be better with Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, some of the young guys that they put in that pass rush situations. I think this team needs a bona fide cornerback one. Their defense, halfway decent, either that or a really good interior linebacker who can cover sideline to sideline. And if they get a wide receiver one and one of those two pieces on defense, I think they're probably closer to a conference title contender again, where we've seen this team, they can run the ball. Malik Willis is going to develop. Treylon Burks and some of those offensive pieces are going to develop. But you need a wide receiver one, and you need one or two more pieces on defense, and then you're good to go.
I mean, you look at the Titans actually had, I believe it was like above a top 15 pass rush in the league.
And they were missing Harold Landry the entire year.
Yeah, they didn't even have their top pass rusher. So that one is good for them. So that then the one thing you want is if you have a lackluster secondary of a great pass rush, you have one number one corner. Depending on the teams you face, I mean, that's definitely really good because, one, you can take away their top guy, and at the same time, you're not giving the quarterback a lot of time to go for their second options.
Yeah.
So, and if you can keep your running game healthy, so now you have a defense where you can play some man coverage and rush the quarterback and keep them, bouncing around off the field. And then again, you're able to run the ball, take time off the clock. That's a recipe to win in the AFC with the quarterbacks you have to face.
And I mean, that's the thing with the Titans, right? Is Derrick Henry's not getting any younger. They have to be in a win now situation, except all of their talent is really young. So they're a young team that needs to win now, and it's kind of sucky for them. But on the back end, I mean, we can move on. Kyle, you're going to really love the next discussion. It's going to be the Giants. I think I mean, for me personally, I think wide receiver 1 and probably CB1 is your best bet there. Again, much like the Titans, where Daniel Jones, we're gonna have a separate video on Daniel Jones and whether he's earned another year. He played serviceable enough. If you can upgrade at that position, then you should do it. But I don't think you need to do it to contend. You need a wide receiver 1 in Dayball's offense, and you need a cornerback 1 with the way that your pass rush gets after the quarterback. I mean, the New York Giants were top 5 in quarterback pressures this year, I think, and Kayvon Thibodeau is only going to get better. And so, I mean, when it comes to the Giants, I think it's the same as the Titans, where it's wide receiver 1, cornerback 1, and then you really have to evaluate your quarterback situation. Kyle, you agree?
Yes and no. So when looking at the quarterback, I don't even think that needs to even be a top 3 worry. Like, obviously, if you can get Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers this offseason, I don't really see why you would say no to that. Like, even though I do think Daniel Jones earned another contract, you can't say no to Lamar Jackson. You can't really say no to Aaron Rodgers. So, like, if the opportunity presents itself to get a better quarterback,
Kyle, I feel like that's your hell, is Aaron Rodgers being the starting quarterback of the Giants. I feel like that's your I feel like that's your hell.
I would be miserable, but hey, it's a winning quarterback, so really, I don't know. But the number 1 position, I really think, as Jake said, is a number 1 wide receiver. And, you know, I was watching the Bengals-Bills game, and it's just so hard.
It's so drastic. Like, the difference is drastic.
A star number 1 receiver. Like, you see, obviously, they got Jamar Chase, but they obviously have, like, 2 other wide receivers on the Bengals that they can use as threats. But the clear number 1 is
3.
Jamar Chase. That's what, they have 3 wide receivers there, but the clear
plus
number
the tight
1
end room.
is yes, the clear number 1 is Jamar Chase, and there's no like debating that. And like, you go to the Bills side of the field, the clear number 1 is Stephon Diggs. You even look at the Eagles. To me, their clear number 1 was AJ Brown last night. Even he got shut down pretty good last night. So like, that's why when you say Giants need a cornerback 1, I don't.
So allow me to explain what I mean by CB1, right? I mean like Jalen Ramsey, Stephon Gilmore from like 2 or 3 years ago. CB1. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, the Giants secondary was serviceable, but I don't expect those guys to play like that again.
I don't know.
I think the pass rush really helped them out. Like, I really do. Like, it's complimentary football, but
to me, I thought it was the complete opposite. I thought our pass rush defense was atrocious all year long. Like, aside from Kayvon, like, Kayvon's the one amazing thing about that pass rush. Like, you see every single video of him getting held, and he's just not giving a shit. He's getting held around the collarbone, getting held by, like, massive arms. He's just steamrolling and not giving a shit. Like, Kayvon doesn't care.
Objectively, I couldn't disagree more, but I get it.
It just, to me, like, the pass rush, like, last night, it was not there. Other than Kayvon trying and screaming, "He's fucking holding me!" Like, that's probably my favorite.
That was so fucking funny.
That was really funny.
The one bright spot of last night for me was listening to that. But like, other than that moment, the pass rush wasn't there. Like, they were running down our throats. Whether it was Miles Sanders or Boston Scott, like, they were running over us.
So you think they need a linebacker?
Yes, okay. I think a linebacker needs to be addressed. Whether that's in the draft.
Would you rather have Trenton Simpson or Noah Sewell? Which one would you rather have?
Noah Sewell.
Really?
100%. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I mean, taking a one thing I will say though, Kyle. So about getting a true corner 1, you have to remember that when you have to look at the teams that the Giants are going to have to face. The Eagles are a great example because even though you've been able to shut down AJ Brown pretty well, that could be either within a double team or just a very lucky one-time game. If you're able to have a corner 1 that can just focus on AJ Brown, maybe with some extra help, that allows for extra slotted protection to be put on somebody like Devontae Smith, who was amazing last night, or teams that have a wide receiver too.
I was gonna say, was Devontae really like?
Yeah, I thought only other than like a couple clear big plays, I thought he was mostly shut down last night.
Listen, a couple big plays can make a game, so
Yes,
Yeah.
it can, but like
it's okay. I think we're good to
Oh
move.
yeah, he was pretty good. He had 61 yards last night, so he was pretty decent last night.
So
yeah, he had 61, 6 catches, 61 yards. I mean, granted, this also was a running beat up kind of fest too, but
the running game was what really ruined us.
Yeah. But the team that you have to worry about is the Eagles, and having somebody to focus just on AJ Brown, and then having better protection overall for whatever receiver can burn you. Because a lot of the times you look at the Bills when they were able to compete with the Chiefs. Why? Because they had all their guys on Diggs, but then Gabe Davis came out of nowhere and crushed their single guy who was on them. So very similar where I think having a cornerback one or even like a very good off-ball linebacker is also very good, but giving some kind of help to your secondary so that it gives the offense less of a chance to burn you with that number 2 or 3 guy.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because like Belichick, the years of we've won the Super Bowl, we've had close to 1 or 2 pretty solid number 2 guys in our secondary.
Outside of 2014, I would say that's probably correct because I think 2014 was the year that Malcolm Butler was CB1. Or am I wrong about that? Was that Darrelle Revis?
Oh no, that year it was Revis. No, Revis was 2014, but Malcolm Butler just.
I thought Talib was 2014, and then Revis was a couple years later.
No, he was 2014.
Okay. No, you're right, Steve. You're right. At the very least, every single time they won a Super Bowl, they had a bona fide corner one.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Gilmore when we won against when we were able to win against the Rams, but also when we played the Falcons. Yeah, Malcolm Butler was playing a number 1 quarter spot, so that then we were able to put who were at the time were like number 2 or 3 corners easily, and we had a whole secondary full of them. So,
you're saying we need a bona fide corner, but wouldn't you say Adoree Jackson is that bona fide number 1 corner?
No, not yet.
I can't personally speak on it because I haven't seen enough of him to say.
I wouldn't. Plus, he's susceptible to jump balls at 5'11".
Yeah, but he was the one that shut down Justin Jefferson, and he was the one that shut down AJ Brown last night. So like, yeah,
I'm not gonna give that solely to Adoree Jackson because it wasn't just one-on-one single man the entire game. Like it wasn't. It
was against Jefferson.
That's impressive, but I'm still not ready to give him that title. That is fine. Impressive. I'm just not ready for that.
I'm saying I think Adoree Jackson really is our number 1 CB1. So like, what you guys are saying we need that. I don't personally think we do. I think to really address the issues on defense, you really need a better linebacker.
Okay. I mean, I'm ready to move on to the Jets. I'm fine with disagreeing what they need on defense. We all can agree they need a wide receiver 1. Moving to the Jets, the only thing this fucking team needs is a quarterback, dude. I don't even know what to say. If they get a quarterback, they're probably in the championship game right now. Like this Jets team is fucking ridiculous.
Also, if this Jets team gets a young quarterback as well, they're set for a while because they knocked it out of the park with this draft with the offensive and defensive pieces that they have.
What can I even say about the Jets' inability to develop fucking quarterbacks?
I like Adoree Jackson. Listen to me. I like Adoree Jackson as my cornerback 1, but if I could have Sauce Gardner, I would take him over Adoree Jackson.
Bro, Sauce was an all-pro corner in his rookie season. He's already cornerback 2 in the NFL. Like,
dude, Sauce is insane. Like
leading the league in passes defended. You know, going up against players like Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like he had some pretty damn solid players he had to go up against.
Sauce has to play Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs twice a year. He gets a free pass in Patriots games, but
yeah.
Devontae Parker's good. Devontae Parker's good. Don't get me wrong.
He's not as good.
Parker's good.
No, Devontae Parker is good. He's not Stephon Diggs or Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
I'm making a joke. It's okay. All we have to say about the Jets.
No Kenny Galladay.
Fuck off.
Oh yeah, Kenny Galladay is the other $20 million receiver in the NFL. Right, it's Kenny fucking Galladay. Oh yeah, D-Hop. Going back to that conversation, the Cardinals can't get out of their own fucking way.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
We've said all we need to say about the Jets. Get them a quarterback, and they're probably like a conference championship Super Bowl contender. That team is very well built. They just need a quarterback. The Patriots, I have hot takes. Not really. They need a wide receiver one on offense, and honestly, the other. When I'm talking, when I'm talking pieces, it doesn't just have to be players. The Patriots need a wide receiver one and an offensive coordinator, and I think they're in the divisional this year. As a Patriots fan, non-bias, I think they're in the divisional if they have an offensive coordinator and a wide receiver one. Their defense is solid. Mac Jones can throw the football. Again, he's not a top 10 quarterback, but he's serviceable. I'm not calling Mac Jones a top 12 quarterback in the league, but he's not going to lose you games as long as you give him a receiver and a second to throw the fucking football.
Yes, and I think also with Mac Jones as well. I mean, he's a very good game manager and distributor of the football. And when you start, when you start giving him that number one option to be able to throw to, I think that definitely helps build a lot of confidence for him. But we can draft offensive linemen really fine. We can do defensive players fine. That I'm not worried about. You give a number one option, because not only that, Jacoby Myers does very well despite being realistically a wide receiver too. So now you have a number one receiver. Then you get to throw to a great jump ball receiver in Devontae Adams, a very good slot or third down receiver in Jacoby Myers, and Kendrick Bourne, who's so much more talented than Matt Patricia really forgot, because
Bro, he was just in Matt Patricia's doghouse all year, which hurt the Patriots so bad it wasn't even funny. I'm so mad about that.
Yes, because people forget Kendrick Bourne had a perfect passer rating when targeted him all year. He was fantastic when utilized. I mean, he was part of the reason why we were able to come back against the Bengals because of some big runs. He had over 100 yards from scrimmage. So Patriots offensive, a competent offensive coordinator will make the difference. Even this year with that, we could be in the running for the 7th or even 6th seed, because there were a handful of games that just any kind of competent offensive play calling, we would be fine.
If the Patriots had quite literally a college offensive coordinator calling plays this year, I think they're easily 10-7, 11-6.
Yes.
Matt 100%. Patricia just didn't. That move still complex. I hate it. Hate it. Get this team an offensive coordinator. I don't even know if they need to go get a wide receiver one if they get at least a competent offensive coordinator, though I would like to see them go get a wide receiver.
As long as they re-sign Jacoby Myers, then yeah, they don't need another wide receiver. Because speaking of getting wide receiver ones, the free agent market for wide receivers isn't amazing.
No, you're gonna either have to draft one or trade for D-Hop. Yeah,
because according to Sportrack.com, the top 5 free agent wide receivers are Nelson Aguilar, Sterling Shepard, DJ Chark, Randall Cobb, and Marvin Jones.
Jacoby Myers should be in that group. I don't care what anybody says.
He is on the list, but he's not top 5.
Yeah, but he should be. Honestly, besides DJ Chark, he might be the best receiver on that list.
Yes, 100%.
There's also Jarvis Landry, Juju, N'Keal Harry. There are other options.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers is still the best receiver on that list. I don't care what.
Oh wait, we can't disrespect N'Keal Harry. What?
Fuck N'Keal Harry. What a fucking bust.
Fun fact, Jake. So I found so there's this TikTok account that I follow that they actually do simulated seasons on Madden.
Yeah.
I sent Kyle one of when the Bears traded for N'Keal Harry. He played all 17 games and didn't catch a single ball.
Yeah, that makes
the simulation.
That makes
sounds like
perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense because that's what he did in real life too with the Patriots for 3 seasons.
Yes.
I'm good with the Patriots. Get an offensive coordinator. Maybe figure out your wide receiver room. And honestly, I actually like the talent the Patriots have at receiver. But if you can go get D-Hop, please go do it. And you're right back in business if you ask me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers may be more than a piece or two away, to be honest with you. If they're healthy, I think they make a better push this year. Their line wasn't healthy all year. Their secondary wasn't healthy all year. Their pass rush wasn't healthy all year. And so saying the Bucs are a piece or two away, maybe losing Tom Brady, kind of doesn't make any sense to me. We have them on the list because I think they need to be considered, but I don't like their head coach. I don't think Todd Bowles is a good head coach. I think he's a great defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. Sometimes being a great coordinator does not translate to being a great head coach. We've seen it constantly. Losing Tom Brady's huge because you have to replace him with somebody, and how are you going to replace the GOAT? I don't think you can do it. And I don't love your secondary, and I don't love your run game. So, I mean, that's 4 pieces right there that I think you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't have much more to say about the Bucks because I don't think they're a piece or two away. I think they're headed to rebuild mode.
There is a possibility where they stand a chance if somehow they're able to keep Brady. And now, granted, this is all also dealing with a lot of money under the cap, so that's a problem. But here's what the Bucks need: if they keep Brady, their offensive line will come back healthy. For their wide receivers, they go to the draft and just get somebody with a little bit of speed. A little bit of speed just to handle underneath so Brady has basically an exit plan. Because if they have a healthy offensive line and they keep their receivers, they keep their running backs who will be fine, and they're able to just to run the ball a little bit better. And on defense, realistically, they have 2 very good safeties. They have a lot of number 2, number 3 corners, and a pass rush that
when healthy
will get
is
better.
pretty good.
When healthy is very good. So what is it? A lot of times with them, it's just they don't need a wide receiver 1, but just a little bit of speed. And then second, a corner to help in their secondary. Because their secondary was ranked the 22nd this past year.
They were also hurt.
They were also hurt, but I'd say go to the draft, take your first round pick, see if you can get yourself a very young, very good, highly rated corner. And then after that, get yourself a later round speedy wide receiver. That's going to help their offense out a lot. And if they can just keep Brady, this is still a team that could potentially make it to hell, even maybe a Super Bowl if they're lucky. So they have a very good chance.
I'll be honest, I couldn't disagree more with you, Steve. I think the Buccaneers are on a one-track train ride to being irrelevant again.
You think so?
I really do. And
I think they're closer to what Kyle says than what you say, Steve. I'm not going to lie to you because I think Tom Brady wants out. And so I'm not going to play with theoreticals here.
I think Brady's leaving. Like Jake said, they need way more than just one piece to be back in it again. And like what you said, Steve, would help them. That's if they can go out and get them. And I don't know if their head coach is good enough to be what they need. Todd Bowles didn't look great.
And they just fired Byron Leftwich, which makes no sense considering literally last year he was receiving head coach offers. That I think.
Yeah, I'm not high on this.
My problem with the Bucks, like saying the Bucks are a piece or two away, is because they're one of the worst run teams in the league. Even when they were winning, even when they won a Super Bowl, the team wasn't well run. It was just you got Tom Brady and all the pieces fell correctly.
And also, Patrick Mahomes' offensive line was almost everybody injured.
Disgustingly gross.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm not comfortable saying the Bucks are a piece or two away, especially with the fact that I think Tom Brady's leaving. I think that's they're gonna need a full-on rebuild when this is over, and I think they'll trade the Super Bowl for a rebuild. I think they're in the same spot as the Rams, where they'll trade a Super Bowl for a rebuild. I think the Rams are even farther away than the Bucks are at this point, which is saying something. Yeah, we're not even going to get into the Rams. Let's move on to the Commanders, who, honestly, again, I think they're in the same place as the Jets, where they're a quarterback away. I love Taylor Heinicke. I think he's got that dog in him. I think he's a leader. I don't think he's a great quarterback.
Yes, and I think...
Go ahead.
And I think also, too, like, they have a very solid defense. They have pretty good pass rush. I mean, Ron Rivera can definitely coach a very good defense. But, yeah, quarterback, I mean, even then, too, in the NFC... They definitely have a much, I don't want to say easier, but not as difficult time because of the quarterback talent in the NFC.
In the NFC, you don't have to go through Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, or Lawrence. That's really what I have to say about it. And I also think they need a bona fide cornerback one. I think that is something they need to address. Their defensive backs haven't been wonderful. Like, they've been serviceable, but not wonderful. The Giants are closer to the Commanders than like a top tier, but I think the two things that Commanders need to address, and you again have watched them twice this year being a Giants fan, quarterback and corner. I think that's the two places where they really need to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do agree that quarterback should be their biggest need. I don't think they're going to, only because I think they're going to run with, at least I think they should run with Heineke, at least in the time being. I think Heineke is kind of in that similar situation where Daniel Jones was the past couple of years, needs that coach that can unlock him.
Mm.
And
listen, again, I know you like Taylor Heineke a little bit. I do. Like, don't get me wrong, I like him. I think he's a perfect backup because he's gonna inspire your team. He's gonna play with heart and he's gonna go out there and play ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Tyler Heineke has the physical skill set to be like an amazing quarterback in the NFL. That's my bigger drawback with Tyler Heineke.
No, like don't get me wrong, he's not going to be a top 5 quarterback in this league. He probably won't even be a top 10 quarterback in this league. But you honestly don't fully need that. If you can build all the other pieces around a quarterback, which the Commanders have,
their playmakers are very good. Yes.
I don't think that needs to be a main concern. I think, like similar situation that I said with Daniel Jones and the Giants, if you can get a Lamar Jackson, if you can get Aaron Rodgers, like if you can improve, how can you not say no?
I think the Commanders are probably in play for Derek Carr, so I think that's one of the places
that
I think that is a great place for Derek Carr to go, the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I personally am high on Derek Carr going to the Colts, but
I also think
because I don't want to play him twice.
They're coming up later. They're coming up later.
Sorry,
yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I do think I think defense needs to be the Commanders' biggest look, to be honest. Mm-hmm. While I don't fully agree quarterback needs to be their thing, I do agree cornerback should be their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Their cornerback room needs an upgrade. That at the very least.
Yes.
And I think you're in business if you upgrade that cornerback room.
Mm-hmm. With the terrible wide receivers that the Giants had, and we were able to get near almost 100 yards on them both times we played them, there's something wrong.
Yes.
Are you talking like an individual wide receiver almost having 100 yards?
Yes.
Okay, just to clarify.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Not combined as a team, like an individual. I believe it was Richie James. Was just under 100.
Who the fuck is Richie James?
Exactly. I think he had 80 something yards first game and 88 yards the second game, something like that. So he was close to 100-yard receiving game both times. That just shows you that our number one wide receiver was Richie James. You guys don't even know who the fuck he is. So clear in that we need a wide receiver one. But anyway,
oh my lord, that's so
it's easier to remember your Duncan order than whoever that guy is.
Bro, oh my god.
Medium iced coffee, 2 cream, 2 liquid sugar.
At the very least, the Commanders need to upgrade their CB room, and honestly, I think they're a playoff contender. Even with Taylor Heineke, again, I'm not here to shit on Taylor Heineke because I think he's done a very good job, but upgrading that quarterback position would be wonderful for them too. Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. We got a Justin sighting.
Special update live in the middle of the episode. Justin's here.
You guys are recording. My bad.
What's up, Justin? No, don't even worry about it.
Keep it in.
I'm not editing it. Come on. What's up, Justin? You want to talk about which teams are a piece or two away with us?
I just got on because I thought you guys were watching a video. Might be.
It's all good. It's all good.
No, we're talking NFL. We're talking about which teams are a piece or two away.
Speaking of people that got that dog in them, how's it going, Justin?
What's up, big dog?
It's going good.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so funny. I love my life.
This is a great PSA, everybody out there. Support your boys. Support your Kings.
Oh man.
Everybody's slaying.
All right, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins real quick. Oh my lord. Okay.
Get rid of Tua and get like Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Honestly.
Time out. Hold on. No, Tua is not the problem.
No, they need offensive line, dude. That's their bigger problem.
Healthy. Tua needs to get healthy. When Tua was dealing, they were number one team in the AFC East. They were there for a couple weeks. I know I ended up losing the bet, Steve, and I know I had to read that stupid thing live on that show. I know. I lost.
So beautiful.
But for a couple weeks, they were up there. They were tied with the Bills. They were sole possession of first place at one point. Like they were there, and that was when Tua.
When Tua was healthy, they were 8-3. I think they just need to upgrade their offensive line, and that's only that's only one or two pieces. They're there. They just need to be able to protect their quarterback.
No, I do only just hope that Tua is able to make some good recoveries, because two scary concussions, I do hope for the best. So I think, if they keep Tua, which realistically keeping Tua isn't, like, I'm playing, but like realistically keeping Tua isn't too bad because he can distribute the ball well. With receivers like that,
that's all you need. You just need somebody who's going to distribute the ball. So honestly, the Dolphins just need to upgrade their offensive line. I don't think getting rid of Tua is necessarily the answer. And with their offensive line, I don't necessarily think bringing in a 46-year-old Tom Brady is the answer. So upgrade your offensive line, Miami. Get your priorities straight. Protect your quarterback. We're going to move on to the Lions. And this team, I think, is defense away. Everything on their offense is fine. Don't even come at me about Jared Goff. He played incredibly well this year. Essentially matched Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins just had a better team.
Yes.
The Lions need defense. I think it's corner. I think it's corner and linebacker, and maybe pass rush. So you're looking at adding somebody on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson, and then adding somebody either on the boundary of that defense or in the middle of that defense. You can bring in Penei Sewell's brother and Noah Sewell and automatically upgrade your run defense, and or bring in a corner to match your edge pick. They've got two picks in the first round. I think that's where you go. I don't even think they need to spend a lot in free agency. Also, for the love of God, bring Jamal Williams back, because I love Detroit just for all the personalities. That's all I got to say about the Lions.
And that's honestly, that's pretty good with him, especially because, Jamal Williams, you really don't want to give up a player with 17 touchdowns. Granted, it could be a one-season thing, but that's still somebody that can punch it into the red zone or the end zone, especially.
Dog, just for the personality factor, you sign that man to at least $5 million. That man is funny as fuck.
Also that's really good just as a team for your team spirit as well. That's a leader right there. So, yeah, defense. Corner, maybe safety or linebacker. I think their pass rush is fine with Aiden Hutchinson. I think realistically their secondary is so vulnerable that I think definitely trying to build that up is better. Because if they had a very mid-tier secondary going after linebackers and pass rush would be good. But I think corner and linebacker just off the ball, I think, especially for a linebacker, is going to help them out a ton. This is a team that can potentially win the division with that and go to the Super Bowl even.
No, that's a fact. I'm good to move on to the Colts. Kyle, do you have anything to add about the Lions? I think we're all on the same page there.
Yeah, we're all agreement.
So I actually think the Colts are two pieces away. I think a lot of people think they're just a quarterback away. I think they're two pieces away. I think quarterback and wide receiver one is absolutely the need. Again, I like Michael Pittman. I don't think he's your bona fide first wide receiver. I don't think he can beat some of the more elite corners in the game. And so you go bring in either Derek Carr, Jimmy G, whoever you want to bring in to play quarterback for you, or you draft one because you could do that too. You're sitting at number 4 as the Colts. In our last mock draft, we had them aggressively trading up to number 1 with the Bears. And honestly, that's all I have to say about the Colts. I think their defense will be fine with Shaq Barrett coming back, Shaq Leonard, not Shaquille Barrett. My bad, Shaq Leonard. I think their corner room is probably getting better. They're young, they're not old, and the team around a quarterback is probably pretty good. But if you can add a wide receiver one, that makes you a much better team. And I think they're a quarterback and a wide receiver one away from really competing in their division. So.
Yep. And I think also looking at Michael Pittman as well. I honestly think. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
I think with Michael Pittman getting a wide receiver one, honestly, is going to make him perform even better because he is a wide receiver 2 you do not want to deal with. If you have a wide receiver 1 and then you have Michael Pittman on the other side, that's really not somebody you want to deal with. So
I think he becomes your T. Higgins on the other side. If you add somebody, not Jamar Chase, obviously, but if you add somebody with a little more talent on the opposite side of Michael Pittman, he immediately becomes your T. Higgins option. And that's essentially 1A, 1B. Like, Michael Pittman is a great wide receiver, probably top 20 in the league. I don't think anybody's going to contend with that. Like, the dude can play ball. If you add another wide receiver on the opposite side and you add a quarterback who can distribute the ball to those two wide receivers, your offense with Jonathan Taylor is going to get going. And your defense has already been pretty stellar for the last few years. So the Colts are probably those two pieces away. I don't think there's really much discussion with that either. Right, guys?
No, I don't disagree. I do think Michael Pittman, as much as I love him, is not their option to be number one. I do think they need a second replacement there.
That's a fact.
Yeah, but then he'll then get a wide receiver 1. Then he becomes easily a top 5 wide receiver 2 in the league. So
for sure.
And then I mean, you also look at if Jonathan Taylor is able to stay healthy as well. Oh my gosh, that suddenly you give a wide receiver 1 a healthy Jonathan Taylor. Now this is a team that like crap. Nobody wants to deal with.
Yeah. And honestly, with that, guys, I mean, that's the 9 teams that I could think of besides, like, maybe the Rams, you could argue are probably a piece or two away, but I think they're farther. I think they're closer to rebuild than they are a piece or two away. Same thing with the Bucks. The other 8 teams we covered are probably a piece or two away from really contending. And with that, make sure to go like, subscribe, follow the socials, High School Backups on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you next time. Peace.